I was at the styling studio getting ready for the charity gala when Elena arrived to pick me up. She was always such an elegant and composed woman, which made it strange to see her let a new assistant use her credit card to buy an extremely expensive suit, one that cost an unbelievable amount of money. I had a feeling right then that our marriage might be in trouble. After I was finished with my fitting, a young man suddenly appeared from where he had been standing behind Elena. He asked the stylist to work on his appearance as well, and then, just like that, used Elena's card to purchase an equally expensive suit for himself. He was quite good-looking and clearly very young. He tilted his head slightly and greeted me with a bright smile, as if he were completely in charge of the situation. "Hi, sir, my name's Leo," he said. I managed a small, forced smile and glanced over at Elena, who was resting on the leather couch with her eyes closed. The event we were supposed to attend tonight was a very exclusive charity gala. It was meant to be a date night for us, something that both Elena and I had specifically made time for in our busy schedules. I had come to this studio specifically to get dressed up for this evening together. Now, Elena had shown up with this young, unfamiliar assistant without giving me any warning at all. I genuinely had no idea what she was thinking or what this new kid's intentions were. The young man seemed to notice my annoyance and looked at me with wide, innocent-looking eyes. "Sir, Elena mentioned you were going to a fancy charity gala tonight," he said. "I've never been to anything like that, so I begged her to bring me along. Elena is just the best. I suppose you could call this an employee perk, right?" My heart sank when he said that. I knew the elegant woman resting on that couch very well, and she wasn't known for being a generous benefactor. In fact, when it came to her business dealings, her methods could be incredibly ruthless. We had gotten together in the first place because we admired that strength in each other. People who saw us from the outside often called us a power couple, a perfect match. Elena had even told me once, during a passionate moment, "Mark, you've conquered me. Even a control freak like me has fallen for you." But this particular situation today, this stunt, felt entirely different from anything before. My name is Mark, and I'm not the kind of person who takes kindly to being provoked. When I get upset, I don't just stand by and let it happen. "Take off the clothes. Get out," I said forcefully, my expression turning cold. The young man's eyes darted around the room in a panic, looking completely lost. He seemed to have no idea what he had done to make me so angry. He looked embarrassed, wringing his hands, and shot a helpless glance toward Elena. Elena finally opened her eyes and stood up, having realized that I was genuinely angry. She raised a delicate eyebrow, and I could see a small hint of affection in her eyes. "If you're unhappy, I'll send him home," she offered. I suppressed my growing frustration, crossed my arms, and gave her a cold stare. "You shouldn't have brought him here in the first place." The studio immediately fell silent. The young man's eyes turned red with humiliation. Elena looked at me helplessly for a moment, then stepped forward and took my arm. "I was wrong," she whispered. "Give me a break in front of him, okay? You can let me have it when we get home." I saw my reflection in the mirror. My face was pale, and I was stubbornly biting my lower lip. A fire ignited deep inside me. "Leo, is it? Too bad. You won't be seeing any charity gala tonight. Me and your very generous CEO here are going home." The young man, his eyes red, just kept staring stubbornly at Elena. Elena's eyes went cold as she turned to him. She spoke in a flat tone. "Go home by yourself. File the car fare. The company will reimburse you." He let out a barely audible, and quickly scurried away. Elena always knew how to smooth things over with me. By the time we arrived back at our home, expensive liquor and gifts were already waiting on the table. "Simon's been swamped with work," she explained, "so I hired a new assistant. He's just a kid, fresh out of college, and he doesn't know the ropes yet. Why are you taking it out on him?" "So you're indulging him," I stated. It wasn't a question. Everyone in the company knew that Elena was meticulous about her work and never tolerated mistakes from her staff. Simon, her longtime assistant, was almost fired once just for booking the wrong flight. And now she was telling me that I was being too hard on this new kid? Was this the same focused, driven woman I knew? Elena kissed my lips, a faint smile playing on them. "Getting jealous, my king?" She wrapped one arm around my neck, pulling me closer. Her voice was soft and melodic. "Don't worry. He's just my subordinate. I'm all yours from head to toe." The expensive whiskey on the table glowed amber, and the quiet of the room felt calming. Elena made a promise, and I chose to believe her. Elena had made her promise, but that didn't mean the new kid didn't have his own ideas about her. Sure enough, just a few days later, Simon filled me in on what was happening. The young man, Leo, had taken a month-long vacation, using the kind of company perks that were normally reserved only for senior management, to go to the Maldives. This in itself wasn't a huge deal. The company sometimes gave exceptional rewards to high-performing employees. But Simon also sent me a screenshot of the kid's social media page. In the picture, he was beaming, showing off a lean, toned body that was full of youthful energy. His cheeks were flushed as he made a heart sign at the camera. The caption underneath read, "Elena is so beautiful. She knows just how to make you feel better. A little trouble was worth it. Leo is a prince who's being looked after." This was followed by a few blue heart and sparkle emojis and a picture of the approved request for a 1-month, all-expenses-paid vacation. In that moment, I felt like my head was going to explode. His tactics were cheap and obvious, but I have to admit he got under my skin so much that I could barely breathe. It was that feeling of someone eyeing what was exclusively yours, and that someone was swaggering around, bold as brass, because he thought he had protection. It triggered my competitive streak. I didn't even want to think about what he might have done for Elena to give him such an outrageous reward. I just wanted to fly to the Maldives, drag him off that beach, and slap some sense into him. Who the hell did he think he was, going after Elena? But reason held me back. A two-bit snake like him, all looks and no brains, wasn't worth me getting my hands dirty. I called Simon and asked him to tell me what was going on at the office. A month later, on the exact day Leo returned from his trip, everyone in the executive office received a gift from me, premium cigars and a $10,000 gold membership to an exclusive gym. These gifts were only for those who had been working diligently for the past month. Leo, of course, didn't get one. Simon was a sharp guy who knew how to read a room. After handing out the membership cards, he organized a group dinner at a high-end restaurant where everyone dressed up in sharp suits for photographs. After dinner, they all went to the gym to blow off some steam, documenting the entire evening in a slick social media post. The caption read, "From Elena's husband, who says a man needs to take care of himself outside of work. Career and strength are the only things that truly belong to us as independent men." After Simon posted it, everyone else in the group quickly followed suit. Soon, the entire company knew that the executive office had been rewarded by the CEO's husband. Gossip flew about the reason for the gifts, and it didn't take long for all eyes to turn toward Leo. The smug look on Leo's face vanished. He was so humiliated by the exclusion that he reportedly hid in the bathroom to cry. His ambition must have been too obvious to everyone. People were even mocking him while he was in the stalls. Leo couldn't take it anymore and ran, crying, into the CEO's office. Elena never pays attention to office gossip, so she had no idea what had happened. She put down her files and looked quizzically at the young man, whose eyes were as red as a rabbit's. "What's wrong?" Leo's eyes were red and welling with tears, the perfect picture of someone who had been deeply wronged but was too afraid to speak. Elena frowned, her delicate features narrowing. The sunlight coming from the window cast a cold glint across her face. Leo seemed mesmerized by her for a moment, and then he completely lost control. He spilled everything. "Elena, I'm sorry. I'm just used to posting on my socials when I travel. I didn't know your husband would mind, or that he'd target me so publicly." His voice choked with sobs. "Elena, I want to apologize to him, to get him to forgive me." Leo played the part of a pitiful, frightened deer perfectly. Elena's face darkened, her expression becoming unreadable. She tapped her fingers on the marble desktop in an erratic rhythm. After a long pause, Elena spoke. "Okay. You can go for now." That evening, Elena invited me to dinner at a Michelin-starred restaurant. She also brought Leo. Elena strode in, sat down, and said, "Leo tells me there's been a misunderstanding. I brought him here to apologize to you." She looked at me, her tone a mix of helplessness and affection. I felt bad that he couldn't go to the gala that day, so I just approved a month's leave for him as compensation. I had no idea HR would follow standard procedure and cover his travel expenses. I coldly cut a piece of steak and put it in my mouth. Leo's voice was thick with humiliation as he began his apology. "Sir, I'm sorry. It was my first time traveling abroad. I was naive. Please forgive me. I promise I won't be so careless with my posts again." I looked at him and smirked. "Oh, really?" Leo glanced helplessly at Elena, his shoulders trembling as if he were terrified. This whole act of his, like a moth flying into a flame, desperate to prove that he meant something to Elena, was pathetic. I put down my knife and fork and leaned back in my chair. "Leo, this company isn't a place for you to sleep your way to the top. You come after my wife, I come after you. This is your last warning. Being a kept man isn't a good career path." Leo probably wasn't expecting me to be so blunt. His face went white. I wasn't... "Mark, there's really nothing going on between us," Elena said, looking at me again, exasperated. But she didn't say anything more. She knows I don't tolerate nonsense. Even if she couldn't understand my perspective, she knew better than to blame me for this. We're all civilized people. You don't lose your cool in front of your staff. I glanced at her and took a sip of red wine. "Right. I believe you." Elena wasn't cheating on me. I knew that. Otherwise, this situation would have ended very differently. "Okay, this is over, but don't let it happen again." Leo slunk away. That night, after her shower, Elena came to the bed and started massaging my shoulders. "You didn't need to say all that today. He's just a kid." I stared at the beautiful woman in front of me, and for the first time I wanted to scream at her. "He has a thing for you. Don't tell me you can't see it." Elena chuckled softly, her fingers pressing into my neck and shoulders with just the right amount of pressure. "I can see it. That's why I understand why you're angry. But this whole thing was my mistake. You don't need to give him a hard time." My chest heaved with anger. I studied her coldly for a long moment. "I'm giving him a hard time? He basically declared his love for you on social media for the whole world to see. If I don't do anything and you don't do anything, what's next? The company gets a new co-CEO? "Don't be so dramatic," Elena said dismissively. The kid was just showing off. I was so angry that I pushed her away and slid under the covers. She sighed, giving in. Okay, my fault. You're right, you're always right. I sat up, furious, and stared at her. Elena, I know you're busy and don't have time for this, but you can't let this toxic crap fester in the company. I love you, and I admire the principled, self-possessed woman you are. But if you ever give anyone else an opening, I'm done. I won't give you a second look. I hope we see eye to eye on our marriage. Don't worry, Mark. I only love you. Elena is decisive. Since she knew it bothered me, the next day she transferred Leo to the PR department. Leo knew exactly why. His face went pale, but he didn't dare object. People in the other departments had heard bits and pieces about what was going on in the executive office. There are always people who will kiss up to superiors and kick down those below them. A lot of them, thinking they were doing my bidding, gave Leo a very hard time. He was just an intern with no connections. It didn't take long for him to be bullied into a corner. He couldn't take it and tried to ask Elena to transfer him back. But Simon wouldn't even let him near the executive office. With no other options, Leo had to grit his teeth and stay in PR. The turning point came one summer afternoon. Elena went downstairs to an import grocery store and saw Leo hunched over, helping an old man. There were a bunch of imported goods in front of him. The old man was trying to haggle, and when it didn't work, he started cursing at Leo. Leo just bit his lip, insisting that he couldn't give a discount. Elena saw the whole pitiful scene. She walked over and asked what was going on. The moment Leo saw Elena, his eyes instantly welled up. Elena. It turned out the PR team thought Leo was useless, so they had loaned him out to the marketing department. The marketing people were all sharks. They didn't want a liability like him either. So he was sent to the import grocery store to do market research. Market research was just the nice way of putting it. The reality was he was just a glorified stock boy. When Elena found out, she was furious. She came home, threw her handbag down on the table, and started yelling at me. I already moved him far away from you, just like you wanted. Why can't you just leave him alone? Mark, you have everything. Do you get some kind of sick pleasure out of tormenting a kid? I remembered then that Elena had a boyfriend before me. He was a soft, weak guy who couldn't even take care of himself. Elena had to juggle her career and looking after him, and she was constantly exhausted, mentally and physically. Eventually, the guy went abroad without a word. After that, Elena shut herself off, telling everyone she would never play the savior again for anyone. Then she met me. She said I was strong, like her, like I was made of iron. Then she pursued me and asked me to spend my life with her. So her savior complex was kicking in again, wasn't it? Mark, I love you, and I respect that you gave up your career to support me and to build this marriage. But you can't use your sacrifice as a weapon, forcing me to tolerate your unreasonable demands and letting you hurt him again and again. Starting today, I'm not going to let you throw your weight around anymore. I just stared at Elena, stunned. This was the first time she had ever lost her temper over another man. It was the first time in all these years that we had a real, direct confrontation. Every word she said was like a knife in my heart. She said I was a bully. She said I was holding my sacrifices over her head. She said I was being unreasonable. The knot of anger in my chest suddenly loosened. So this is what she's thought of me all along. Elena transferred Leo back. The opportunists who had been giving him a hard time all rushed to apologize. Simon was furious and sent me a message about it. The next day, Elena fired him. The executive office is a place of business, not your personal gossip lounge, she apparently said. Hand in your resignation and get out. With Simon gone, everyone in the executive office walked on eggshells, treating Leo like a prince. They were terrified of becoming the next target. When I heard what happened, I pulled some strings and got Simon a position at King Corp. Doing so pretty much confirmed that I was behind the bullying, but I did it anyway. Simon was innocent, and I wasn't going to let him take the fall for me. Elena and I stopped talking. She stopped coming home, sleeping at the office every night. She wouldn't even come back for clean clothes, sending Leo to get them instead. She was determined to use this to put me in my place. But the silent treatment was the one thing I could never stand. While I was lost in thought, Leo kept pestering me. Sir, where are Elena's pajamas? Sir, which perfume does Elena use every day? Sir! I put on my headphones, refusing to speak to him. He gave up and called Elena himself. It was on speaker. I clearly heard Elena say, "If he won't tell you, just take everything. Leave nothing behind." Leo looked at me, a triumphant glint in his eyes. Yes, Elena. She really thought this would make me back down. After the bathroom was cleared out, our housekeeper tried to reason with me. Sir, Elena is just angry with you. If you just go and explain things, wouldn't that fix it? I drained the bowl of soup in front of me. Pathetic. After 5 years of marriage, did she not know what kind of person I was? A few flimsy words from Leo were enough to make her fly into a rage, enough to make her storm home and convict her own husband. If I apologized now, wouldn't that be admitting guilt? Another month passed. Elena blocked me. Instead, Leo added me on WhatsApp and sent me a message. Sir, Elena said this would be easier for contacting you if something comes up. I didn't delete him. Driven by a bitter curiosity, I opened his social media feed. His photos all had this polished, elite style. You'd think he was some rich kid if you didn't know better. For a whole month, his feed was a highlight reel of all the places Elena had taken him. A conference in Paris, with a side trip to the Louvre. A business deal in Iceland, with a side trip to see the Northern Lights. Cross-border negotiations in New York, with a city walk through Wall Street. I gripped my phone, a cold, mocking smile on my face. No wonder Simon had been checking in on me lately for no apparent reason. He was afraid I'd find out about all this, afraid I'd be hurt. I turned off my phone and called my lawyer. I need you to liquidate all the shares, partnerships, and joint investment projects between King Corp and L Corp. If Elena was so determined to humiliate me, then she'd better be prepared to face my wrath. The lawyer didn't ask any questions. It took him some time, but he delivered all the necessary documents to the villa. As I was looking through them, my buddy Alex somehow heard about my situation and invited me out to a club. I said yes. After so many years, showing up at a club in a loud, floral shirt felt a little weird. What made my toes curl, though, was that Alex had booked a private room full of models. They all stood in a neat line and greeted me in unison. "Hey, Mark." My eyes scanned their beautiful faces, then drifted down to their long legs and cleavage. I swallowed hard. Alex handed me a beer. "Here, man. The guys told me what's going on. What the hell is Elena thinking? Doing this with her assistant behind your back? That's a straight-up challenge, man. Hey, Mark, you're the heir to the King family fortune. You built half of King Corp yourself. If you let this slide, I'll lose all respect for you. She wants to mess around with her subordinate? Fine. Tonight I've got you a whole room of young models." Beer bottles clinked together in the haze of celebration. My hand drifted and landed on a long leg. Elena's sharp, beautiful face flashed in my mind, sobering me up a little. I pulled my hand back. Suddenly, she grabbed me, pulled me out of the room, and threw me into her car. The jolt made me gag, and my head cleared a bit. Elena got into the driver's seat, grabbed my hand, and stared at me with cold eyes. "Mark, I'm gone for 1 month on business and you're already hitting the clubs, hiring models. Do you have a death wish?" My face flushed. I smirked. "Elena, it was just a few models. Why are you overreacting?" "Mark!" Elena roared. I looked at her calmly, and only then did I notice that Leo was sitting in the back seat. When he saw me looking, he had the nerve to scold me. "Sir, Elena dropped a multi-million-dollar contract the second she heard you were here. She was so worried. You should stop making her angry." A month away had made the kid bold and a lot smarter. He was saying, not so subtly, that I was the one being childish. I ignored him and leaned back in the passenger seat, closing my eyes. "Drive." Elena was furious, but she took a deep breath and turned the steering wheel. I watched as she first navigated to Leo's apartment and carefully dropped him off. Only then did she drive me home, in a calm, composed manner. I didn't argue with her. I just walked in, closed the door, and lay down on the bed. A huge, oppressive shadow fell over me. I opened my eyes and saw Elena standing by the bed, her face a cold mask. "Aren't you going to explain yourself?" "Explain?" Hilarious. First she wanted me to apologize. Now she wanted me to explain. "What gives you the right to stand there and demand an explanation from me?" I sneered. "I'm your wife." Elena's voice was low and tense, a vein pulsing at her temple. I laughed softly. "Oh? My wife? What kind of wife doesn't come home for a month? What kind of wife runs around the world with another man for a month? And what kind of wife drops off her little assistant before taking care of her drunk husband? Elena, let's get a divorce." I said it calmly, then rushed to the bathroom and threw up. Elena froze for a second, then quickly grabbed a towel and handed me a glass of lemon water. "You're drunk. I'm not going to hold this against you. We'll talk tomorrow." I waved her away, my voice firm. "No need. I'm perfectly sober. The papers are already drawn up. Tomorrow, you and I will go to my grandfather's house and explain everything." Elena and I had met at a birthday party for some socialite. Her grandfather had introduced us. He had originally wanted to set me up with Elena's younger sister, but Elena and I ended up talking business at the table instead. We hit it off immediately. Everything that happened after that just fell into place. Now that we were getting divorced, we had to inform him. Elena refused, standing by the bed and arguing. "You were the one who was wrong first, giving that kid such a hard time. The trip to the branch offices was scheduled months ago. After we fought, of course I was going to take him with me. I didn't cheat on you, Mark." I laughed and opened my eyes. "Elena, you convicted me without a trial. First, you said I bullied him. Where's your proof? Did you even investigate? Second, are you sure this was all my fault and not you being biased toward him? Third, I'm your husband, yet you sided with an outsider every single time, thinking you were teaching me a lesson while humiliating me over and over. You had to have known what Leo was posting for the last month. You had to have known how many people were laughing at me. Even Alex knew enough to come and cheer me up. And you? You just kept insisting I was in the wrong. Elena, you tell me, why should I put up with you?" Elena was silent, staring at me with a deep, complicated expression. I couldn't believe it. Such an exceptional woman. Beautiful and capable. Even now it was hard to let her go. But I couldn't help it. I love myself more. Once a woman is tainted, I don't want her anymore. Elena didn't say a word, her lips pressed into a thin line. After a long time, she muttered, "You're being unreasonable," and turned and left. The next day, I arrived at the old family estate on time. My grandfather probably knew why I was there. He had only invited a few close family members. Elena was late. Finally, I had no choice but to call Leo. The phone rang for a long time before he picked up. His voice was soft, but I could hear the smugness in it. "Sir, I'm sorry. With Simon gone, I've been really busy." I didn't have time for his games. "Tell Elena to get to the estate now. Everyone is waiting for her." "The estate? What's that? Elena doesn't have that on her schedule today." I laughed coldly. "If you want to keep your job, you'll do as I say." He didn't back down, pushing back defiantly. "Sir, if you don't tell me what this is about, I'm not going to report it to Joanna." I gripped my phone, wanting to smash my teacup on the floor. Elena had done a fine job. She'd raised a good little assistant who had zero respect for me. I took a deep breath and hung up. If Elena wouldn't come, I'd announce the divorce myself. I briefly explained the situation to my grandfather and told him I'd be returning to take the helm at King Corp. Giving up my career for marriage, for love, once was enough. My grandfather was very understanding. He held my hand, cursed Elena out, and invited me to stay the night. I figured I probably wouldn't be coming back here again, so I agreed. Early the next morning, I went downstairs for breakfast. To my surprise, Elena was there. Behind her stood Leo, his eyes red and swollen. He'd clearly just been yelled at. I just didn't know if it was by the impeccably dressed Elena on the couch or by my still imposing grandfather. As I stood there, my grandfather smiled and waved me over to sit next to him. "Mark, I called Elena last night and gave her a piece of my mind. See? She came first thing this morning to apologize." I looked at Elena. Her expression was grim, but her eyes held a hint of guilt. "I'm sorry. I looked into what happened at the office. I misunderstood you. I apologize, Mark." I shrugged and gave a pathetic laugh. A late explanation is like late affection. Worthless. My face was cold as I looked at her. Even so, I still want a divorce. Elena's brows knitted together, a flicker of confusion in her eyes. "Why?" "Yeah, why?" Elena had cleared my name. So why was I still pushing this so hard? Even Leo, standing behind her, looked confused. He was probably wondering why I wasn't taking the easy way out she was offering. I didn't know what was wrong with me either. Maybe it was anger, maybe it was disappointment, or maybe I just wanted to stand up for myself. It was like Alex said, I'm the heir to a fortune. Why should I take this crap from Elena? Whether she knew I was innocent or not, it didn't matter. She shouldn't have used the same obedience tests on me that a company uses on its employees, trying to give me the silent treatment to make me submit, trying to start a rivalry to hurt me. Not a chance. Elena refused to agree to the divorce. Instead, she made Leo apologize for yesterday. "I really did forget about dinner at the estate yesterday. I heard you called Leo. He didn't tell me. That was his mistake. I'll have him removed from the executive office." Leo's face went white. He bowed respectfully and apologized. "Sir, I'm sorry. My attitude yesterday was unprofessional. I apologize." He'd clearly been warned by Elena already. He didn't dare try any more tricks. I didn't have the energy to deal with him. It takes two to tango. If Elena hadn't enabled him, he never would have dared. My grandfather couldn't change my mind, so he went back to his room to rest. Elena grabbed my hand and pulled me home. This time it was my fault, all my fault. You can make me apologize or do whatever you want, but I don't want to divorce you. I shook her hand off. Too late. I only give my love once. Elena, it was never you or no one. Her eyes fell, and she hugged me tightly, refusing to let go. I didn't have time for her drama. I pulled out the divorce papers. "Look this over when you have a chance. If it's okay, just sign it." Elena was so angry she ripped the agreement in half, her eyes bloodshot. "Mark, I don't agree. How can you just sentence me to death like this? Even heartbroken, the woman was stunning, like a fallen queen. I grabbed her by the collar, my voice cold. Because I've always believed that when you truly love someone, you don't develop feelings for anyone else. If you do, it isn't love. Elena's voice was ragged with anger. I told you I didn't! But you felt sorry for him. Your weakness took over. You abandoned me for him. You let me be humiliated, let others laugh at me. Elena, you were killing my love for you. I shoved her away and left without a second thought. The next day, Simon must have heard something. He sent me a congratulatory message. Sir, I heard the CEO fired Leo and hired a sharp new female assistant. Congrats on taking down that snake. I replied happily, nothing to congratulate. Elena and I are getting divorced. Right after I sent the message, I saw Leo at the law firm. He seemed to be there to hire a lawyer. He was surprised to see me, too. I ignored him and walked straight into the conference room. He followed me in and sat down across from me. You must be pretty pleased with yourself, huh? Leo asked, his eyes filled with raw jealousy. I chuckled. Pleased about what? He stared at the Rolex on my wrist, indignant. You just got lucky being born into the right family. If I had what you have, why would I have to scheme and claw my way up? Mark, you'll probably never understand me, but you shouldn't look down on me. Because even if it wasn't me, there are plenty of men who want to get with Elena. Since I got the chance, why shouldn't I take it? I nodded, taking a sip of the coffee in front of me. So that's how you see it. Then you're right, I can't understand. But I think trying to sue Elena for a bigger severance package isn't a great idea. You're not going to win. Leo was speechless. He shot me a furious look and stormed out. But I wasn't lying to him. According to corporate policy, employees with less than a year of service shouldn't be sent on international business trips unless absolutely necessary. Leo wanted to use that loophole to squeeze more money out of the company. What he didn't know was that when he took that all-expenses-paid trip to the Maldives, he signed another non-compete agreement. He probably wouldn't be able to get a job at another major corporation anytime soon. Elena started hounding me. I moved out of our villa and went back to focusing on my career at King Corp. She came to my office building every day to pick me up, with flowers, luxury cars, the whole show. I have to admit, finding another woman who was my equal would be really hard. But I had seen her true colors, and after seeing them, nothing else mattered. I no longer expected loyalty, sincerity, or devotion from her. I just wanted to build my career, invest in my health and my mind. Besides, for women over 35, things start to go downhill in that department anyway. Love is just love, and even the greatest love is still just love, especially when it's already been tainted. I remained indifferent to Elena's gestures. For a whole month, she stood outside my office building, humiliating herself. Finally, when she realized I would never change my mind, she agreed to the divorce. I was free again, and threw myself back into my work. A year later, my old university invited me back as a distinguished alumnus to give a speech. I stood on the stage, speaking passionately. A girl in a white dress raised a camera and snapped a picture of me. Her smile was radiant. After the speech, she slipped the developed photo into my hand and smiled. I've admired you for a long time. I was wondering if you'd be interested in getting to know each other. I gave her my number. On the way home, Alex called me. I told him what had happened. 18, young, beautiful, energetic, a real bombshell, 5'7". Yeah, I said. I'm interested. She's my type.